Look at this. We're back. Oops. We're live. I'm bumping into shit, knocking shit over. Um, we're here for Evil Dead Trap 2. And I'm happy to be back. I will say that.
Yep.
What I'm not happy about was this fucking movie.
No,
I uh
I was
I didn't really care
confused.
for this. Yeah, I don't know what the hell was going on the whole movie. It was weird and
Mhm.
not it was weird and not like the weird, strange fun. It wasn't fun. It wasn't as fun as I thought it was gonna be. I don't know. I was disappointed. I knew it wasn't gonna be like the first one because the video store clerks was saying that it was different from the first one. But I'm just like, you guys had to steer off that far and
Yeah.
just I don't know.
So basically, what is Hideki? What is Hideki? Is it just a curse? Like, because I thought it was that creature from the first one, like the brother, like
It
that thing.
it is, but it jumps. I'm gonna flat out say it. This is the first time I've actually watched the movie from beginning to end, and for
Mhm.
me, it was a pleasant surprise. I felt it actually did keep with the spirit of the first film, took it more in the direction of the supernatural, but it kept a lot of the main themes of the first film, except in certain ways this was more the first film because you mean you're looking through what's supposed to be a camera of the crew. It's more like you're a voyeur. This film is more about the characters and their voyeurism, and it's kind of sickness. And I just have to say, I mean, I like it. Now, one little thing I'll put on the table right away, and it helped me understand why I actually liked it. The director, Izo Hashimoto, is
Gosh.
best known. I mean, he did a lot of video work and he's done a fair amount of stuff, but he is most famous for writing the screenplay to Akira. So the
Hmm.
director and writer of this wrote Akira. He's a competent writer and a competent director. And for me personally, I thought it was a logical progression to keep going more into the supernatural of it still being a trap, but it being more about the traps of the mind. Because yes, this
Uh,
is makes no sense at all. It literally it's a clusterfuck. But I'm
Mhm.
gonna argue it's supposed to literally not work.
Okay.
Um, so that was my take. Now, James, what do you think of it?
Because I was okay. So that's where I was lost. Because I was expecting from some type of continuation from the first, like that creature thing. I thought it was like going to come back, like go into somebody else or something. Well, it
Hmm.
started off where okay, there's this girl. Was her Aki?
Aki,
yeah,
yes.
Aki.
So Aki, she's sitting there. Okay, I'm like, okay, what's up with this chick? I'm like, okay, so she's gonna be the main character, I'm guessing. So it's going on. Then she ends up killing people for I have no fucking reason
Does
why.
she?
Or does she? Exactly. I don't
Yeah.
know. She's sitting there smoking a cigarette full of blood, wraps up in napkins in a handkerchief.
Hmm.
And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I was like, oh, maybe it's inside her. But then she looked out the window. She sees a boy when she's watching the news and everything. There's a little boy drawing on the ground every video. She's like, the fuck? So she's being stalked by Hideki.
Hmm.
How you pronounce it?
Hideki, I
Uh,
believe. I could be
Becky.
wrong.
Either way.
Hideki. So I'm like, okay, but then for one, that dude. So then the friend and the guy. So that dude was kind of rapey. Let's get that
Both of
out of
these
there.
films are very cringe in certain
Yeah,
situations.
he was
Um,
forceful and shit. That was kind of little. I was
yeah,
like, Jesus Christ,
yeah.
back up there, buddy.
Yeah.
Uh, but trying to get her to have it was really weird that relationship with those two, the reporter and that dude that was married, by
Mhm.
the way. The fuck was that about? What's wrong with his wife? I have no clue what the hell that was going on.
Oh,
But
that was.
it's so weird because I was like, are they all getting possessed? I'm like, what's going on?
Mhm.
Because the chick goes crazy. He went crazy at one point, or was he even there? Was she imagining? I don't know. It was all over the place.
Mhm.
Yeah, it threw me the
Yeah.
fuck off too. That was my issue with it because it was like it felt like there was not much going on and too much going on at the same time, if that makes any sense.
I will agree. I will definitely agree.
Which threw me the fuck off and kind of, I won't say frustrated because it didn't frustrate me.
No.
I've watched movies that just, you want to damn near kick the fucking TV over. This wasn't one of those, nowhere near it. But it was more so of like, it was like the weird, strange that like you can't turn your head away from. You know what I mean? And that's what I guess I could say I enjoyed about it and had fun with. Was like, as much as I don't like this movie as the movie was going on, I'm like, it has my attention for whatever fucking reason, and it hasn't lost my attention. So that has to be a good thing, right? Or at least something.
That's how I took it. Yeah.
A movie in which you have to rewind a little bit continually because you took those few seconds of attention away and you look and you're like, I think I missed something. This is that kind of movie. So where the first movie, I mean, this movie actually wears the same influences in a more updated manner. No, it's beautifully shot. And to me, I mean, I don't like, it's not it's all a dream ending. It's actually much different. So the film is definitely, there are elements about motherhood, very, very common in Japanese transgressive cinema. There are also a lot of references to identity in this film. You actually mentioned, was it last week, I'd love to see a horror movie that takes place in a theater. Well, you got that. And yet again, so the video technology and the idea of the gaze, whether it be the male gaze, the female gaze, the just, general gaze itself is very, very important to these movies. But what I think the ending kind of wraps up is, for this character, a lot of what was going on was possibly psychosis. And she had been in what is some kind of institution, we don't know how long. So Hideki represents something to her. In this film, even more than the previous one, because it is so David Lynchy and, plot be damned. This is all about themes and concepts and a lot of gore. I think it truly delivered an interesting take that, it is so absurd, but it also, unlike the first film, touches upon things that are folkloric, religious, cult-like. The idea of coincidence in our lives. That, in this movie, what few characters there are, there's always a person at some point that you figure out, or he flat out tells you, oh, I told you to do this, but I think you should have done that. That person was crazy. So it's almost lighting yourself in your own mind, trying to fix the issue with her. We don't know.
Okay.
So
I didn't think of it that way.
No, not at all.
So now that I think about it, you're right. She could have been in that at the end. She could have been in there. Just imagine all this shit through the whole process. But before that, though, it was just how everything was going in place. It was so weird. How like, I'm like, why is she killing people? Like, if she was killing people, I'm like, is it a jealousy thing? Was it like a jealousy thing? Like, because
it doesn't
the
make
guys
any sense
want
for the
those
character.
women.
Well, okay, so I mean, it does. I mean, honestly, as far as movies about people who are made fun of, this actually does a much better than other ones I've come across. But the big thing with this is you don't know when the switch happens to reality and possibly some sort of psychosis. And that is one of the joys of the film. So in her mind, she has killed people, but there's no explanation. It suddenly happens. There's no motive. It suddenly happens. And it even brings in that element of, there's an exorcism in the film. So which is absurd. But the idea that in the first film, okay, it was crazy, it was bizarre, but it was still meant to be happening. This is almost like she's a film. She's a projectionist. What if, everything that she's dealt with her entire life, which is her best friend telling her horrible things on a continual basis, but her self-identity is whatever. Now, put that on overdrive with whatever possible mental illness or other trauma we don't know about. Together, what if she was watching Evil Dead Trap and got lost in that idea while going into psychosis, or in some cases trying to get to crisis, or being picked up to go to crisis? I mean, like the boy, she sees him in the theater, but nobody else ever sees him. But it's done in a way that you kind of really want to believe her. So, I mean, to say that it's unsuccessful, I can't do that. I have to say I like the movie, but to say that it's really different, slightly difficult, and really doesn't care about narrative is totally true. So,
didn't they mention the Emmy mentioned to Aki that she at one point said that you had a miscarriage or abortion or something?
Mm-hmm.
So was she going through trauma of that?
You don't know. It's actually in the film. Emmy implies that there was a situation with a possible child connected to Aki, and then proceeds to make a statement that will make people feel that she has also done certain things to whatever, which I have to say, it was presented, even though it was important, it was presented in a very matter-of-fact way, which was very, very good. But that's another thing about this movie. You really can't take a clear reading of what its intentions are potentially politically at that time. But it definitely is. I think this particular film is supposed to literally just be, the fruit salad of all the trauma, all the heartache, all the issues with identity that Aki is dealing with, and somehow it manifests through Hideki. And that ending, that's my interpretation of the film.
Okay. Because that's what I was trying to figure out through the whole movie. I was like, I was like, so if it's not continuing, Hideki's a monster. Is it like a curse? Is it something like latches to him? Is it like a disease? Is it like, what is going on with this? What does Hideki mean? Why is it different in this movie than the first one? So I was going through this whole thing trying to figure out what the fuck is going on with Aki.
So
I was like,
one thing that I noticed, so when she goes to the shaman, we'll say, for now, and everything is said, she references a wolf. Now, in a Japanese culture, the wolf is a very, very strong animal and is depicted throughout the tales of Genji and etc., etc., etc. But a fox can be the purveyor of good luck, bad luck, almost always as a shapeshifter. That in itself brings just this little tinge of Japanese folk culture into the film, which would yet again make sense. What's all going around in her brain when it is overwhelmed by whatever she's dealing with? There's going to be elements of that, but also in itself, it still puts its toes in the supernatural and kind of like, we're not going to take that away from you, because there are honestly times in the film that I was like, are they trying to make a franchise here? And then other times I was like, oh, Hashimoto is just having a hell of a good time playing with the killer kid trope. because technically it's built up that these films are about killer kids, but it's a totally different take. So,
Okay.
Is this something you'd watch again, Trevor? This film right here?
oh yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel I missed a lot in the movie, actually. You know, it was just based on the fact there were certain times I felt like I automatically missed things and rewatched portions of it as I was watching it that helped me, you know, kind of pick up on some of the themes. But no, it would be a repeat watch for me, and I honestly felt it was a successful sequel. But in that way that, okay, so Human Centipede is not a good film. Let's say it was a good film. And Human Centipede was a great film, but Human Centipede 2 happens, which is just this total reimagination of everything, but really glows as its own work. So if I had to make some weird, like, allegory.
Okay.
So,
That works. That
Yeah.
works. What about you, though, James? Is this something you'd go back to?
Nah. But you know me, I always look for the new anyway. I don't go back really.
I know, but I also know here and there is some you'll jump back for just because it's like, yo, that was, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, I feel like you would for the sadness.
Yeah.
If you haven't yet, you will.
Oh, the sadness is see, like if I was in a mood for a zombie movie or something like that, and there's nothing new out, and I'm like, but I'm watching a zombie movie, I probably would watch that just because of the violence and craziness of it.
Okay. Oh, so you're
But,
really about that, not really going back to movies too much.
No, I really don't. I like looking. I try to find something I never seen before. That's
I admire
what that's what I usually go for. But I will watch, shit again if I had to.
Okay. I was gonna say because for me, it's not just the pod wise; it's also like the whole. It's also like the whole just nostalgia of her, just like kind of holding on to it, wanting to go back and see it again. Not even, I guess, yes, in a sense, to kind of remember the past or just remember the feeling of watching that film in the past, especially with something you really enjoyed. But there's this shit you just love, and it's like, yo, I just want to go back and just watch it just because I want to watch it. There may not even be a sentimental value to it, or if it is, you're not thinking about it. But it's just like I just want to fucking.
I
watch
mean,
it.
I do sometimes. Like I plan on doing it for when Deadpool comes to streaming.
Definitely.
I'm gonna watch that again, just because
we should do something with that.
I just have to, you know.
When it's all out.
But Chad is like, the chick went crazy with the box cutter. Yeah, I know. She had a box cutter. It just going nuts on Aki.
So the weapons are still giallo references. No
I love
question.
that.
Yeah,
I love that.
The scissors.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's still this movie, no matter how bizarre it is or how it takes everything in such a random direction, it still keeps those basic influences of the first film. Biggest being David Cronenberg, both in the concepts of technology horror, but also in body horror. And, it just, and then the other big thing, being, lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. That happens every once in a while. Yeah.
I don't think so. Them people in the tub, they didn't explain that at all.
Yeah. Couldn't remember that.
They showed the chick hop in the tub and stabbed the shit out of the dude that had the knife where he dropped. She smacked out of his hand. She got in there and tore him up with the box cutter, and then she started chasing the other girl. This movie was nuts, though. It
was very gory too.
It was gory, especially with Aki killing. Like she tore it up from the uterus out or something. She ripped the insides out.
It was brutal. Oh,
but speaking of real quick, this made me laugh. I gotta get this out. So Emmy. So when Aki broke her arm, and she's like, it hurts. Like she's running around, like bouncing off the walls. Then she has her box cutter. Okay, the first thing I'm thinking, this hurts. Let me cut my arm off because it's not going to hurt no more.
Yes, that was also it was like wow, this is really weird. I mean, of course, the characters are so out of it and, cartoonish in that, most savage way. Yeah, it was still a
Yeah, it
really.
just made me laugh. I was like, yeah, that helped. Okay, don't hurt no
Mhm.
more. Okay, cool.
Yeah, this movie and Evil Dead Trap are very interesting in the fact that they did not run into the censorship issues that these films would in every part of the world, except for actually Japan, which is very strange. And this actually, started, even, as soon as the occupation was over. Um, Filmmakers have been pushing sexuality, nudity, all kind of stuff. And somehow, in some way, a nation that is built on being reserved, being repressed, especially under feudal laws, would also be a culture that would go, oh, okay, yeah, well, you're not really doing anything wrong. We're actually open to you doing something weird, different, and bizarre. Um, which is kind of how the censorship board went. I mean, of course, these movies ran into issues,
Mhm.
but nothing like other countries. Now, the funny thing about, well, not the funny thing, is the bad side of it is there are a lot of creepily graphic films that
Mhm.
were released, you know, pretty much to video, but goes beyond it. But Japan is that land of a billion subcultures, and even though technically it was the most repressed in the least number of years, it with open arms, express your subgenre, and they've done that with film. The running joke is, and to this day, you still have filmmakers do it just because it was done at all. The only thing they ever really asked were like, okay, pubic hair, body hair. That has to be. You can't show. You can show it, but you have to blur it out. And that was
Yeah.
basically it. When it really came down to it, I mean, there are a lot of censorship things, but in comparison, yeah.
Hmm.
And that's how a lot of the extreme cinema started coming out of Japan as early as the late 1960s. And
Wow.
filmmakers just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. Um, and yeah, I mean, so, but it's interesting because this film and the last film still, even though Ring was based on a book, um, yeah, I think they definitely influenced the author of the book, if nothing else. So yeah, it's a strange cinema with a strange background, but it always seems to have this element of fun to it because it's so different.
Okay.
It was, yeah, like I said, it was a weird fun, not necessarily like a good, like I would come back to this fun, but it was a weird fun, and just I think the craziness is what had me hooked. The violence in it had me hooked in it, and then so I'm like, my wife was like half
Excuse
watching it
me.
with me. My wife was like half watching it with me, but every time she looks up, those
Okay.
two chicks are fighting. And at one point, it's towards the end of the movie, she's like, "These bitches are crazy." I just started laughing because they were fight. It was when they were fighting with the box cutter and whatever other weapon the other
Mhm.
chick
The
had at one point.
scissors.
Oh, they were just rumbling through like. But it was such a cool like. What I like about it too, because you mentioned the scissors, James, and the box cutter and stuff is, I love seeing fight scenes in movies all across the board, every genre with stuff like not necessarily box cutters and stuff. It could be swords and all that stuff as well, or hand to hand combat, but martial arts more style than guns and all that shit. Because it
Mhm.
just takes it's boring to me.
Mhm.
Here and there, it's not bad. Again, especially in like a martial arts movie because they do some cool shit with it. They might do like a backflip and some spinning kick shit, and then shoot you. They're not
Mhm.
gonna just bing. That's boring.
Well,
Guns
that's
is
why
too,
if I'm going to
guns are
watch
too
Kung Fu,
easy.
oh, I
In
was
the
going to
movie,
say,
yeah.
Yeah, that's why if I'm going to watch Kung Fu, nothing against the Shaw Brothers and some amazing films, but I will always find myself watching Japanese Kung Fu and Japanese martial arts because it is a more savage thing. I mean, uh, you know, God bless Jackie Chan, but it's Sonny Chiba all the way. And he's an interesting idol of Japanese cinema because he just like represents over the top, which
Mhm.
it is a legitimate area within, you know, the arts and media and everything in Japan. I mean, this is the country that would put naked people in glass cages and put insects on them on game shows.
That
Yeah.
is
Game shows
And
like
those were like primetime
game
game
shows are
shows.
crazy.
Yeah.
Was it like the
So, you
Gong
know,
Show or something like that?
well, it was like it would be the Gong Show if done by a true sadist.
It's
But
crazy.
no, it was like, you know, the precursor to the Ultimate Warrior challenge games
Yeah.
were actually these really weird, bizarre, sometimes sexualized just because
I
they
gotta
were
look it up
so.
actually. I
Yeah, I
gotta
mean, I don't
find
know if you're
stuff.
gonna find much of it, but you know, 1990s Japanese game shows, and you will just it's some crazy shit.
Hmm.
They don't give a
I've
shit.
heard of stuff like that before, but I've
Yeah.
never checked it out. I never even thought of really checking it out. I'm just like that's
Mm.
crazy.
It was like
Or
it's kind of like a mixture of like it's like Fear Factor, like before
Mhm.
Fear
Yep.
Factor in some
Hmm.
cases.
Yep. I totally forgot about Fear Factor, but that was one of the
Yeah.
first US ones
Yeah, it's like Fear
that went
Factor
that
mixed
way.
with fucking Wheel of Fortune.
Hmm.
yeah, fear of fortune. That's the show. Make it happen.
Get electrocuted and shit.
Well, I mean, it's very, you know, I mean, these films make a
Fear of
very overt statement about media. And it's also very interesting that, you know, if not the primary protagonist, or at least one of the protagonists, is, you know, their life's blood is media. And I just find that fascinating. Um, you know, one scene that really stuck with me in the second film was when Aki is at a party and they're all watching this video, which it was not the original actress, but you almost at times it gave you this feel of the original footage or like footage that was filmed post, and other times it just kind of took the film outside of the film. And it's like, you know, the fact that it could have been Aki's, you know, it was supposed to in certain ways be Aki's victim, that everybody is there just like, oh yeah, that messes with
And
uh
Emmy gets
the
turned
mind
on.
in itself. Yeah, well, no, she
Yeah.
gets offended. So it makes it even harder to believe she would do these things when she has a blatantly, I'm offended. It's not a, I'm scared. It's not that. It's like, and even though he's weird and everything and has all kind of other connections, that the character that is oh uh, Nadeki's brother in the
Mhm.
film does even point out that, you know, this is not the kind of people we want to deal with. Um, of course, it doesn't connect to his character, but still, it's more about her. So that's more and more why I was like, no, this is not her doing these killings. This is, you
Hmm.
know, at some point her mind and her life spirals out of control, and you know it's left to the viewer to, you know, what does Hideki mean when he's standing there staring at her in some sort of asylum. We
Hmm.
don't know.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I'm gonna spin the wheel in a minute, guys. I can't wait to see what's for
Cool.
next week.
I
Just
wish they
'cause
would release the third movie, because even though it has nothing to do with it, it was one of the popular films by the director of the first one, Hideki.
Oh,
And it would be like a cool box set because those movies you want them like that third movie that or makes no sense but you've got to have it because you have to have all of them. I wish
That's
they would
crazy
do.
how they do that. They're like, you know
Mhm.
what? We're gonna make a third one, but it has nothing to do with the other two. We're
Yep.
just gonna steal the name, basically.
use the name to get the attention.
Yeah, it's
That's
weird.
what it
Usually made in Italy.
is.
That's weird. Can't believe they have a third one though. And you said it's not released in the US?
It's not released in the United States.
Oh,
Nobody's picked up the rights, or somebody has picked up the rights, but we won't see it for a long time. But it
okay.
was released in Japan as a third film, and it's more of a psychological horror film, from what I understand.
Okay.
But
Oh,
no, it's just like the fact that like on it, there's a box set in the UK of the House films that has 5 films in it. Even though only
Yeah.
2 films actually connect at all, but there were
Yep.
3 other films that were marketed
True.
as House films. Yeah, that had nothing to do with it.
Some of I get that vibe off some of the Amityville horror movies. Like
Oh
some of them,
God.
like
Oh.
are like don't have
Oh.
like nothing to do with the house. You're like, what the fuck you talking about?
I mean, yeah.
Like
if you
like
go,
Amityville Chicken or something I seen or something like
no,
that.
I was gonna say they're in space. They're
Yeah, like the fuck is going on?
all over the place now.
Well, there were so many TV movies. A lot of them came out of Canada for the Amityville horror. It just became this very, very popular moniker. Actually, I think it might be the second Amityville, or it's Amityville 3D. It's the Italian one is my favorite Amityville movie. I also think the Amityville horror is a bit overrated.
Okay.
So random. So
I don't remember the third one. I'm sure I've seen
I
it.
think
I
it's the
just can't
3D
remember.
one. I think it might be the second one.
Okay.
It's the one with the lizardish kind of creature that comes out of the basement.
Hmm.
Mm.
Okay.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. We grab this wheel for us, gentlemen.
Hey, Daddy.
Let's see what we got. Yeah, it'd be something if we get that one movie, James, because every single time we put a new movie on this wheel, it's what popped up.
Yeah.
So we'll see if sick.
Yeah, I came across it today, and you're like, "Oh, is that the same one we put in the group chat?" I was like, "I'm not sure." I was like, "Well, it looks interesting." Dr. Lamb.
Oh,
That's a fucking weird name.
Oh man. Oh man. This
Is
is
she
like
fucking in
the
this?
Cat 3 of Cat 3's, boys and girls. This is some serious sick Hong Kong shit.
Serious
Dr.
sick
Lamb, because he's
Kong shit.
they call him Dr. Lamb because he's hung like a lamb. I don't fucking know.
I don't know if that's good or bad, James.
I don't know either. I don't even fucking know. I don't think lamb. Is a lamb.
This
I don't
one
even
is
know.
actually based pretty loosely on a actual killer.
Oh,
And
okay.
I'll just say that it touches upon some very taboo subjects that a lot of serial killers do.
Okay.
Luz.
Oh, Luz. That's an
Luz?
awesome movie.
Lou. Oh,
Yes.
so we got some.
Oh, it looks like sucking the soul out of somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, sometimes it's a good thing, guys.
Cool.
I've wanted to revisit this film, so thank you, Will. Thank you, guys.
See, you see this, people? We're gonna start thinking the wheel. That's a good idea. Thank you, Will.
Chad said,
Good
"Better
or-
shave your bush."
Good or bad?
So that
Yeah.
Hey, what about that? You said they blur pubic hair and everything. What about if you shave? They're like, no hair. You don't have to bleep that out, right?
That's a great question.
That's
Actually,
I've never really noticed within, because actually for that level of stuff, that's a whole different end of the Japanese film industry. So yeah, but no, yeah, I think there are certain things you don't show in film.
Yeah.
unless it's an X-rated film or things like that. So in Japan, it's it was never about seeing genitals. It was about hair.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So yeah, so I mean, which was interesting because when you watch the films, really good directors who did a lot of these Roman porno films, like the guy who wrote the first Death Trap movie, Takashi Aishi. Um, yeah, I mean, they got really creative. Like all kind of like, as far as like a chair just at the right angle or, whatever shadow. I mean, it was really cool, but then a lot they just would like blur out on basically. And what a lot of, companies have discovered is it was in the main copy. Like they were like, before this goes, so there aren't like copies out there without the blurring.
Mm.
But, oh shit,
Yeah, which kind of sucks actually. So,
that's they always got to ruin stuff for us, Trevor.
It's
Just put it
crazy.
out there.
It's crazy they do that, but Japan is like, you look into it, they're like one of the freak. They got like basically an area, like a city of freakiness. Like they come up with the
So
craziest shit, like
this
sex wise, like this. They like.
they didn't say come up
this
with
comment
it,
is for
but
you, James. This comment is for you.
Oh, I know. I see it. And I laughed. I chuckled.
hey, bud.
But yeah, Japan is wild. They got some crazy
Mm.
stuff over there. They
Oh
don't
hell
care.
yeah.
They'll do anything.
And I mean, you got to respect it though. You got to respect it because I mean, for the most part, we all enjoy it.
Mhm.
We enjoy. So that says a lot about if we're enjoying that shit. That says a lot about us too. What it says about us is we're all the fucking same. We're just different colors and all that other shit,
Mhm.
shapes, sizes, and there's a certain group of us that likes the same shit with film. And hey, I think that's dope.
I always wanted to go to Japan.
Oh,
Same here.
Japan! It's always been a bucket list,
Like,
and one of the main reasons is because there are so many subcultures that are very, very healthy in Japan, and there's this acceptance that
Mm-hmm.
is not something of the West of a lot of subcultures.
Mm-hmm.
It's much more a live and let live culture, which is very bizarre yet again because of cultures that are functioning today or nations. It's the one that was under like the most like rigid feudal repression.
mhm.
You don't express yourself. I mean, of course, you did, but it was, it was a repressed society. And it's just bizarre how, open and, how celebrated it is, do your weird thing. It's also interesting as a country that in a very, very short time, it allowed itself to look at itself in a very critical way. Um, and that's impressive in the short amount of time when you look from the war to the 1960s. So, Japanese cinema is a joy for me because after seeing so much, there'll be something in a movie that just makes me go,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just so interesting. I mean, and there's so much. I mean, there's a whole element of prison film movies that are just starting to get released in the United States. But it just I don't know. I did say I can't say which is my favorite, but I would say that Japan is a culture cinematically they get
Mhm.
very excited about at all times because they tend to push limits and be very
Okay.
transgressive.
That's probably the same reason James and I like them so much.
Mm-hmm.
Is they push exactly what you just said. Exactly
Mm.
what you just said. It just does it. It's just like holy yeah, this
It's
this hit.
unapologetically in your face sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But
Um,
for the most part, I won't say for every single movie, especially the ones that get real wild. But for the most part, though, it tells a story. Like it tells a really good story, or it can tell a beautiful story. and some are just off the wall. Again, like this was just off the wall. This wasn't a beautiful story at all. This was just some wild ass shit right here.
Well, it's also weird because I mean, okay, there's a lot of generalized cinema coming out of Japan at any given time, that's award winning and everything, but you know, the Japanese cinema has, you know, it's always been so healthy, and it is known for its refined work. I mean, your Ozu, your Kurosawa, and all this kind of stuff. And there's this weird kind of changeover, which, you know, like Razamon, very traditional film, but for its time, it pushed a lot of buttons, and it made a lot of social commentary. But especially when certain directors in the late 60s got involved, Japanese cinema, even in its exploitive area, could be very political when it came to social issues, and also issues about looking at themselves based on the war, but also critically on how they were treated during the occupation. So it's just so interesting on a cinematic level to watch a country mature so fast.
Yeah, that's awesome
So,
too.
yeah.
That's awesome too. We can learn a thing or two for 3 or 17 or more. I don't know how many. I'm not even gonna count, guys. I'm not even gonna count. Holy shit, James.
Yes.
What's the latest horror movie you watched?
I watched today. I watched, of course, this, but I also watched. Came out this year. I think it had to go straight to video because I never heard of it. It's called The House on Laura Ann Drive.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically a haunted house.
Mhm.
Not the greatest. It was like an hour and 18 minutes. But I was like 2024. I was like, oh shit, new horror movie, haunted house. I was like, cool. So I'm thinking like something like Conjuring going on. I was like, oh, maybe this is gonna be really cool. It was just okay. You could tell it's like it has to be straight to video, on demand type situation.
Yeah. How about you,
Yeah.
Trevor?
Oh, of course, I watched this today completely for the first time. As far as a horror movie, because a lot of the ones have been connected to these podcasts.
Mm-hmm. I'll say just a
I did
film in
watch
general. Film in
in
general for you,
general.
Trevor, because
Oh, what did I
I,
see that I really,
I,
really like?
I'm only I say horror. Well, yeah, we're a horror show, but more so because James, that's pretty much all he watches. He doesn't watch anything
Yeah,
else outside of horror. So
it's true. Majority of the time, it's like 99% is horror.
but yeah, what have you been watching lately, Trevor?
Oh,
And to the people watching, what are you guys out there? What are you guys out there watching
curious
now?
myself.
If you need a moment, I can tell you what I watched today. And
That sounds good because I can't remember. I'll be honest.
So today, which I did a TikTok for, you guys should check me out. Anyway, we're on TikTok. Link is in the description in the link tree. But The Exorcist 2.
Oh, the Heresy, or
Yeah,
is it called the Heresy or something? Like that?
the Heretic.
The Herrick or something like that.
I only watched it for James Earl Jones, the legend, the late great legend. Rest in peace. That movie was fucking terrible.
The Exorcist.
They said it's on the top of the worst sequels. I think on the list.
It's nowhere near the worst movie I've ever seen. I've seen a movie, and I'm not even talking about Blood Lake when I say this. I've seen movies way worse than this shit, but this shit was just bad as shit. And then to find out, actually, you know what? Find out on my TikTok what I said. I'm not gonna talk about that movie anymore. I'm done talking about that shit.
It's been a long time since I've seen it.
But what I do want to say, because I didn't bring this up on there, and then we'll talk about this movie a little bit more if you guys want. With The Exorcist 2, seeing as how we all seen it, finally, I seen it today. Caught up to you guys.
You're down the club.
Down the club. And you know what? I love being in like the bad movies club. It feels so. It's like a weird acceptance or like a weird club to where it's like We literally accept everybody. What do you have to do
Mm.
to join? Watch this movie. That's
Yeah.
it. We
Mhm.
don't care about anything.
Mhm.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, actually, I did remember. So sorry, I've been jumbling a lot of things recently. Um, but the last movie I saw that really stuck with me was a French film called Blacklist from the early '80s. That's about these three drugged out teenagers who decide they're going to do a bank job in Paris, and it happens, and the one person who is in the bank job is connected to her mother, is a very important figure in the sports world in France.
Mm.
So that becomes a connection there with what is eventually, um, they were set up because an element of the cops were actually going to take down a huge bank deposit, and it just goes out of control. Her daughter is eventually killed by one of the actual criminals because they're on the run. And when she's brought to her mother, they haven't spoken except for on the phone, literally for like potentially years.
Oh shit.
There's like the most intense death scene ever, and then the movie becomes this amazing revenge film from a mother's point of view.
Mm.
Kick ass, named Blacklist from the 1980s France.
Nice.
Yeah.
What the fuck, Trevor?
Okay. Yeah.
No, not in a bad way.
Mm.
What was that movie called again?
Blacklist.
Blacklist. It's actually, I don't know if you can find it streaming, but it was released by Fun City Films in a box set of like French police thrillers.
That sounds awesome.
It was pretty awesome.
This man here, this guy here, guys, you guys out there watching, ladies, gentlemen, people out there, Uncle T, aka Professor T, aka our foreign correspondents. This is why. This is like this man should be teaching a class on like horror on film, just on
Mm.
the history of film and just film in general, but just like the actual movies because holy shit, and
Well,
it's awesome. Like it's people that want to sit down and listen. I would listen to some shit like that because it's
I, at
awesome.
this point in my life, I would disagree, but I am very flattered.
No, don't
Right
disagree,
now,
man.
I'm just very happy being able to, introduce people to things, celebrate what they like, and, hopefully turn them on to new things based on what they like at any given time. Or for people who are already horror fans or want to get more into being horror fans, help people maybe expand a little bit more beyond, why is horror important versus like, this is just a cool, scary movie. So I enjoy doing that. It's what I do on my spare time. I do it with music too. Otherwise, that's it. So,
Mm.
Listen, there's nothing wrong with that though. Like
mm,
you know your hobby and you dive
Mhm.
like I'm not gonna lie to you, Trevor. I thought I dove deep into horror. Then I met you,
mm.
and I'm like, I ain't doing shit.
No,
I'm
I'm
just
not doing. That's what
You
I said. I was like, I
are
don't
I'm
do
just
great.
a
You guys are
shit.
great.
I thought I was an adult, but I guess I'm not. I'm growing up though. I am
I'm like the
growing up.
kindergarten in horror. They're like,
Mhm.
who's the main killer in Halloween? Michael Myers. That's my level.
Yay!
That's my level.
But but
Well, I
but the
mean,
cool
there's different ways of watching movies, and that's completely fine, and that's
no
really awesome. And honestly, sometimes I wish I could just watch a movie and just be like, I'm just gonna watch this to watch a movie, and not have like millions of references pop into my head, or I start comparing the film to other films, and
Mm.
yeah, so sometimes it can be a bit of a burden, but I also don't really remember a time when I didn't do that too much. So
See, and I just think it's like one of those like, oh shit, this is it's
Too bad,
dope now.
too bad all of it can't just combine where you're like your brain does that, but it's also because you want to watch the movie, you're just watching it to watch it.
I see
You
what you're
just want to
saying.
sit back for
you're-
for 90 minutes and go, Leprechaun in space.
No,
Oh,
no, you
no,
don't.
no,
I know.
no,
I
no.
want it on that level. I want to just be able to, like,
No,
I
you
mean,
don't.
So,
No. I mean, listen.
Break that one
If
down. Jesus.
you know what, Trevor? If you want to go down and watch Leprechaun in Space, my friend, I'm never gonna tell you not to watch a movie. That's just not a journey I want to partake in because
honestly, I don't particularly want to take on that journey either. It was just only reference I could.
If you've seen all the other ones, you got to finish it. You got
I've
to
only
watch
seen the
that one
first
too.
one.
Oh, okay. Then you don't have to worry about it. Don't worry about it.
When you say about horror, there's a lot of horror I don't know. And that's a lot of stuff that's fairly contemporary. Especially like I've only seen the first Child's Play. I liked it, but I never liked it enough to continue on with the series.
Okay.
There's a lot of things like that I'm deficient on, but that's cool because
that is cool.
So is it because it's the mainstream stuff? You're like, this is too mainstream. I like going to the shit people don't know.
Well, I mean, the best thing I can say is, I didn't want to go back to Hellraiser after Hellraiser 3. I just couldn't. And, CD Cenobite could only make so much better. And I think with franchises, unless somebody like I've had a lot of people tell me that the Hell House LLC franchise is really awesome. So that's on my radar right now. But unless somebody tells me something, I just kind of, I veer away from mega numbers of sequels because it's almost like, this might be great and dandy, but I'm in the mood for something different now.
Well, Trevor, I'm telling you, please watch the Hell House.
I've got many friends telling me that.
There we go.
Hey, Mick.
I ain't seen the newer ones that just.
So I have a story about Leprechaun in Space. That's why I asked him to put me in.
Okay.
So when we were in high school, birth of like computers, like home computer, things like that. And so I made a AOL account. Remember AOL chat?
Yep.
God, that's how you got everything. The messenger.
Yep. That was the Wild West.
The dial-up shit.
And I don't mind using this because I have never used it since, but I'll never forget it. My first password for that was the password that they type in Leprechaun in Space.
I'll be darned.
Yeah. I was watching it that weekend. Then we went in school. We had to do it. We had to sign up for it and such. And I did. So I did it.
I like the way your brain works, sir.
Me too. Really quick, people, I'm going to say this to you guys right now. Do not, I repeat, do not go change your passwords to whatever the hell that password is from that movie.
I don't remember it.
Terrible idea. If you want to sign into AOL Messenger Liquid K768, that's the password.
Hey, yo, you should
Liquid what? Liquid K?
My brother made it for me. He's like, this is going to be cool. And then he made it. And I was like, what is it? And he's just like, don't worry. It means you're cool. Don't worry. I was like, all right. I'm in high school thinking it's all right.
Liquid, okay.
Now I'm Liquid K768.
Cool.
Those are the only things I remember. That's why I wanted to share that story when he talks about it.
I could have a whole other meaning. Maybe you've been peed on.
I don't know what it means.
I mean, you're not going into the old school Yahoo chat where, potentially water sports was one of the lesser things that we talked about. But, I mean, God, do you guys remember, okay, I can honestly say I met one or two people off Yahoo chat. That was a bad idea. And yeah, I mean, there's a reason why I didn't do Craigslist back page. It's just, yeah.
Wait,
but, yeah.
Did one of them pee on you?
No.
Okay. Okay.
What happens
But
in
thank
the
you for
roadside
asking.
motel stays in the roadside motel.
I'm just asking.
Yeah.
The only reason why I asked is because we were just talking about Mick getting peed on, and then you brought up your
Hey,
story.
We were
so-
not talking about. Not all of us were talking
Hey.
about me getting peed on. You
If
guys.
you
You're
get
the
stung,
one that
if you
brought
get
up
stung by a
pee.
jellyfish, you're gonna want someone to pee on you.
I
You're
didn't
gonna
know
be
that's
calling
what
for
that
R. Kelly.
Yeah, when you go into that Jersey Ocean.
I was
That's the least you have to worry about with R. Kelly.
I was unequipped for
Human
this.
trafficking and torture, in
I did not
comparison.
realize that that's what that meant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying. See, education. You watch Two Girls, One Cup, you'd have had that education, Mick. I'm
I don't wanna
your
watch Two
educational
Girls, One Cup.
friends. You know?
I don't want to. Don't tell
No,
me
you
what-
don't have to now. You would understand it now.
Oh man.
I wouldn't understand it now. I wouldn't understand. Oh, you fucking-
See? Look, you're already getting all sick
I
'cause
can
you're-
listen. You know, this is how fucked up my brain
Those
is.
600 hit it.
I will put that video on right now while eating the ice cream.
See?
All right, I'm out of here.
I was just
Okay,
like,
man.
this is,
Real
I was like,
fast.
this video's nasty. While me
I
and
was
my
like,
ice cream.
I'm gonna tell this funny quip about leprechaun in space. Now we've gone to ice cream and shitting.
Hey.
When did we get to scat?
I don't know.
It
Aaron
just
brings
goes
up two
Gets over
girls, one
scat.
cup all the time.
Yeah.
Well, you know what it is? It's fresh on my mind because I was trying to show Mick a YouTube video of Henry eating peanut butter and drinking milk with 3D glasses on while watching that.
Which led to some kind of blood play. So
It was
Okay.
wild.
it just gets.
Are we gonna
Wild
rate this?
Yeah.
Ugh.
James, what is your rating for this young man?
I mean, some weird way it kept my attention still.
Mhm.
So I give it credit for that. I'm just gonna say this movie was just okay. I'm gonna give it a 5.
I'm right there with you, buddy. I'm right there with you. How about you, Trevor?
I'll give it a 7.5.
7.5.
I think it was surprisingly, it delivered a lot more than I thought it was going to. And it was irreverently different. And I thought that was actually pretty cool, considering the first film in itself, was that. So
I saw it.
I was gonna say, what about you, Mick?
I would give it a 5.5. I didn't mind it. There's some good gore, but it just took a while to spark anything really good.
Mm-hmm.
That was another issue with it for me. I don't mind slow burns if they're worth it, but this wasn't the type of movie that should have been a slow burn or like slow. How it had that kind of a slow start. It was fun though. It was fun at best. The other one though, part one, that shit was wild in a fun, good way, in a good weird way. That was
Better kills.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I did like the story of the first one a lot more.
yeah, pretty much like
there was a story.
Yeah, exactly.
Thing in the first
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Saw-ish type, which was, whew, I enjoyed it.
Mm.
I enjoyed it. Oh man, next week's movies are gonna be fun too. We got Dr. Lamb and Luz.
Oh, Dr.
Lose.
Lamb.
I think it's lose.
So
Isn't it?
excited.
Lose.
Sorry, Luz. Where is that?
Would you say lugs?
I said Luz. Listen,
We're gonna watch Lugs Boots.
no, not lugs. Not Birdman's boots. No, not that. Never that, Gene. Never that.
Mhm.
Lose.
You're a sick fuck, Sturdy.
Me? That is true, but
Yeah. So, so then what are you saying me for?
I want to know why. Well, actually, no. You know
Pick a
what?
reason. Pick a reason. 2 Girls, 1 Cup. Pick one.
Well, Nick, I know someone who has that cup, and I can get it for you if you want it.
Oh no.
How about that?
I came in at the wrong time in my life. I'm too old.
I'm just excited I get to talk about Cat 3 Hong Kong films on Tuesday. So
That's all.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I love the excitement. See this?
You should explain, Trevor, explain Cat 3 to everybody.
Okay. So in Hong Kong, there was a rating system that was adopted late 80s, and it was called Cat 3. So Cat 3 was basically a ratings that you received that was like an X. But in the Hong Kong market, X-rated films could still get a release. So a
Oh.
lot of them were quite successful. But this also includes movies like the Ebola syndrome, movies like The Joy of Torture, uh, The Untold Story. It's endless. But Cat 3 gave filmmakers, especially one who was very popular, and that's Danny Lee, who's in Dr. Lam. I mean, he was an A-list actor, but he was also key in making some of the most grotesque Cat 3 films. I mean, these are extremely transgressive films, and also almost as a whole group have a very political punch to them about Hong Kong. But no, this is one of my Dr. Lam is one of my all-time favorite serial killer films.
Oh.
It takes a very different stance on telling the story, but it also is a pretty big taboo breaker.
Okay.
It's coming
And
up.
I'm not talking about pee. So.
There we go. Not pee this time, people. We're not talking piss.
Jesus, look at that poster.
That's an interesting poster.
Touch
And then for
it.
Thursday, boop,
Loose.
Soul
Very
Suck.
cool movie.
Kind of looks like a Michael Myers. A little bit on the left.
Looks like some kind of fucking succubus or something sucking the life out of something.
See, I get the Michael Myers mask.
Listen,
If
stop
this
blaming
is the
succubus.
loose that I saw, don't be expecting a linear plot line by any stretch of the imagination.
That's fair.
Oh, it says right on the cover, demonic possession. So,
Great. Haven't had enough of that lately.
I know.
hey, I love that's my category. So, bring it
So
on.
keep watching Evil. Trust me,
Oh, I know. I'm watching
dude.
it.
I'm on season 4 right now. Oh my god!
Damn it, you're way past me now.
I binged. It's so fun. It goes bonkers in season 4, and I'm mad they canceled it.
They're really trying to bring it back.
I know. I hope they do.
Hardcore people are trying to.
There's a
bring it
big
back.
fan push right now
Yeah.
to get it picked up by somebody.
Yeah.
Think it'll happen?
If we can get it up on
I mean,
Netflix.
that's one of the wonderful things about the world of the internet.
That's
and
true.
being
That is
able
true.
to, gather and literally, binary numbers almost, if you have enough people literally clicking and supporting, somebody will go, oh, well, we'll just pick it up. And
Yeah, that's money right
keep
there. Look at
going
all
until
those
it's
millions
not
of people that want to watch
monetarily
it. Yeah.
viable. I
Exactly.
mean, yeah. So there are several series that exact thing kept them going.
Supernatural
Yeah,
came back like
exactly.
3 times.
Yeah.
And they
What
might
did
come
it-
back
Yeah,
again.
they always came back by the same network. Like the network,
Yeah.
like they were on The Verge, and actually, I remember when Supernatural, there was like a 2 or 3 year stretch where they put them on the Death Friday night, and
Mhm.
it turned Friday night into this big watch
Mhm.
that they moved. That then
Mhm.
after that, Supernatural could do no wrong. So like seasons 9 through 15, it was a lock because they used Supernatural to bring in new shows that they wanted to do well.
Yep.
Mhm.
And that's that. It testament to how good that show was, in my opinion.
Mhm.
That's smart.
Then they did the spin-off with the parents when they're
You don't
on-
really get that with
not the
streaming
same.
though, now do you? Like when you're streaming a show, you don't really get that, especially if you don't pay for the commercials. You just binge some shit. I mean, you get it word to mouth, you get it from the internet, but watching shows like you're saying with Supernatural, they're in those commercials. They're purposely going to throw a show they want you to check out on that network about
Yeah.
17 times.
Well, the
You don't-
network TV used to do lead-in shows. So like
Mhm.
if you wanted Supernatural, which is this big dynamo doing really well,
Mhm.
you're going to put it at 9 p.m. on one of their power nights. Like
Mhm.
Monday used to be a power night way back in the day, but Thursday seems to be the biggest power night. So
Mhm.
you would put like Supernatural 9 p.m. that's your hit. And then if you want a show to do well, and like this is one you're really pushing for, you would put it at 8 p.m. So that way it's the lead-in show. So most times people go from like whatever news source they are to whatever. I'll watch this until Supernatural's on.
Yeah, some reason Thursdays was a power day because I think even back in the day, I think Seinfeld was on Thursdays. Wasn't Seinfeld on Thursdays?
Well, NBC did have the must-see TV block in the 90s.
I wonder if part of the reason for it moving from Monday to Thursdays, and then I wonder if that has anything to do with Monday Night Football, or at least during the season.
Well, football's huge for it was huge for ABC for the longest time.
Well, a lot of TV shows will go on. I don't know the time frame exactly. What they used to call it. What they call it? Where
like
they did the reruns,
mid-season, like a mid-season break, and then
the reruns. Yeah,
that is true.
They timed it for like World Series and everything. They knew when to take a break. Because they know they're gonna fucking lose money.
I'm sure you all remember back in the world of network television where, it had to cyclically run that your new shows would be at a particular time and your other popular programming would be at a time in which you would rerun those shows. At that time, you could do production and best case scenario. And this was done up till, where, cable went from any concept of block programming to it's just on demand. Block programming was so important because number one, you want your best show in your best slot. As Mick just said, if you have something you really want to get moving, whether it be a new show or a show that went from like major high and then it starts going down, like, wait, we need to move this to see if we can get it back up. That's all where block programming is. And there was a real beauty to that kind of network television programming where program directors actually programmed. So.
And a beautiful part about that, especially with Must See TV and how NBC did it early on too, in the 70s all the way through, it became late 70s, I should say. It became a block of sitcoms. Mm-hmm. And when that happened, you had all these powerhouses on Thursday. So Cheers was a powerhouse at 8 p.m. on Thursday night. And then when the Cosby Show came, and that started on Tuesdays, by the way. And then came the Thursday night once it became a powerhouse at 9 p.m. And those were the two, you put your powerhouse shows at 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. And then you put your newer shows you're really trying to push, or shows that maybe aren't doing so well at another slot. They'll put them there and try it because a lot of audiences will just, if the laughs are going, they'll roll through. Like, oh, okay, yeah, I want to watch the Cosby Show, and then I want to watch Seinfeld at 9. Whatever you have in them, or Friends, or whatever.
It makes sense. I was tired after watching the Cosby Show. Cosby me.
I'm not going to make a Cosby joke. Not going to do it.
No, I will do.
You're just way too easy.
No, going off of football too, like Sunday, so not Sunday Night Football, but after the games are over. No, Sunday after the regular games are over, because they're over around like 7 something. The Simpsons on Fox. It'd be the Simpsons and Family Guy.
Fox had their cartoon lineup, the animation lineup.
And if you're watching an NFC game, which would be on Fox usually, it's boom blasting it. And I'm a Niners fan, so of course, it's blasting, boom, 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 boom. I forgot what they call it, like something animation, something. It was like something.
Well, now they do. They call it like Sunday night animation or something like that. But it's Fox literally changed the game for Sunday nights because everybody else was doing like movie of the weeks and stuff like that. ABC's, NBC, CBS. They were doing those. You had a lot of other
like Disney had the Disney movie.
But there was Disney movies were played. But there wasn't sitcoms. And then when Fox introduced it, they made Sunday night a block of sitcoms.
And it makes sense. It makes I feel like if you're gonna
hold that down, like nobody else can master that now.
If you're gonna do a movie night, I feel Sunday is a terrible day to do it, just because you feel like, say you're starting the movie at 8 o'clock, there's still people like, listen, I got to get up. And yes, I know I do a watch party at 8 o'clock, but listen, you're doing that from your own home. You don't have to show up if you don't want to. But you're putting it on network television. And it's like, I'm not saying people aren't going to watch it, but Sunday's kind of like it's football day. Then it's like I just want to watch something that's gonna make me laugh real quick. It's The Simpsons or some simple shit for me, at least for me. And a lot of people that watch that with, we just go right into watching The Simpsons and Family Guy because it would be fucking hilarious. Didn't really feel like watching a whole movie. You just watch all the hours of football, basically from when you got up in the morning and turned on ESPN or whatever else till you fucking went to bed. And that's if you don't watch a Sunday night game. If you watch a Sunday night game, you're damn near up till midnight. You have a long day.
I
But if
gotta
you have that
start
little
watching
block
Simpsons
of
again.
Family Guy,
I gotta see if they're gonna play an episode to tell me the lotto numbers because all their shit comes true.
You know, it's kind of funny. Anybody from 25 and below, Mick, you could have explained what you just explained. You explained it extraordinarily well about networks and how networks, you know, looked at audiences. And the answer would be, why would you move the time of something?
Yep.
And because that's part of like it's television lore now, where you know every show on every network was on at a time for a particular reason, and it was all economic. And nowadays, in a on-demand society, that
You
really
watch
doesn't
whatever you want.
exist. I mean, the big three and Fox still exist, but they also still live in that, you know, well, you can watch whatever you want to watch when.
Yeah. I see, and don't get me wrong, I love the streaming era, but sometimes I just miss the old school ways, especially with like shows to where it's like I don't always have time to sit down all day and watch or all weekend and watch, you know, the first season of this show that just dropped on Netflix versus when it dropped weekly, it dropped episodic, you know, once a week, and you have a whole week to watch that episode. Where you know what I mean, you have that whole time to watch that episode, and then you have the whole time to have that conversation with others. Versus this motherfucker watched the whole, it's like they watched the whole thing and they're talking about it, and it's just like,
I remember when they started streaming with Netflix. Remember when the shit was streaming, and you're like,
DVDs.
wait, and you start watching a TV show, and then you're like, oh, an episode, okay, cool, and your mind is blown that you can watch the very next episode right after, you know, because you're like, not because it was so much, because like you did have DVDs where you could do that, but like just right there, like you have everything ready to go, like there's not even a skip or you know you got or something like that, like it was so bonkers to me, and the fact that killed the, you know, like the rerun era, like that's that whole like, okay, this is going to play throughout and then you have to catch it or you're going to see it in a rerun. Oh, on demand's here now. It's so crazy to me how we lived life.
I know.
On
it was
TV,
simpler back then.
Just even in the 80s.
It was simpler. It was so much simpler because you knew what you had, or you like it gets difficult, not pod days, not days like that, but it gets difficult like when I just want to throw a random movie on at times. It's because you have so many fucking options, which again, I'm complaining, but I'm not, because I do also love having so many options, but I do miss the days of where it's just like, all right, you only have the same 47 movies you had, and there's only the same 27. Oh, wait, actually, there's a new movie coming on TV tonight. Let's watch that.
Well, you know, it's weird. You mentioned,
I miss it.
you mentioned Netflix. You guys mentioned Netflix and streaming. I remember signing up for Netflix when Netflix was literally, you only got it in the mail. And one of the cool things about Netflix at that time was you could put in a queue any DVD or at one point Blu-ray that you wanted, and their catalog was deep, major deep. You might have to wait a while, but that was part of the cool thing, because you didn't necessarily know until it dispatched what they were going to send you. So it also was really, really cool when you got like, oh wow, I had no idea that I'd finally get this movie. And there would be, especially with popular titles, you put in for a popular title and then you get one, and then the next 5 are deep catalog, and then you get the next one. And to me, that was fun. And I actually held out to the point that I didn't subscribe until after they stopped doing any form of mailing to Netflix.
Oh damn.
And also, when they first started in the preview, the library sucked if you were a film lover. It looked cool online, but when you were looking for certain titles, nah. I mean, it's
Yeah.
gotten better, but yet again, that comes to that argument of the license.
I
mean,
remember when. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, please go ahead.
I was going to say, I remember when they exploded, when they finally decided, because the biggest gripe with people was like, why can't you just put the new movies that come out on there to stream? And they weren't. That you could only get like new release movies through the mail for like the first month or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe it would be on the stream. And then I remember they just like, they're like, you know what? We're going to start streaming new releases. And everyone signed up.
Yep.
Everyone signed up. And it was like, okay, cool. Like whatever new releases you got going on. And then it just changed the whole format. And it's just like, Netflix was the kick in the pants, I think studios needed that, but did not understand. They understood it wrong. Don't put out better stuff. But is definitely something that was needed in this industry. Kind of shake things up.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Algorithms.
I do miss the video stores and all that stuff, though.
It's not bad. I love streaming. It's just nobody owns it or nobody wants to sell it. In the world of streaming, like, if you buy something on Kindle and for some issue they lose the ability to sell it, they can actually take that pre-existing item from your Kindle. The wonderful world of licensing. That's why I've always been more of a fan of physical media.
Hell yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I'm like, listen, I don't mind going back to the old way, go to a video store.
Yeah. I mean,
it was frustrating, but now I'm at a point in my life where I feel like, whatever.
Yeah.
It'll be a good time to get out of the house, go stroll the fucking video store, walk around it.
I still maintain, I'm telling you, people like a couple people like turned down the idea. I was like, telling you, a video store near a movie theater, I feel like
that's a good idea.
Like, and what the thing is, like, what I'm picturing is like, not just it has to be full nostalgic, but not like in a way where it's like, ooh, the 80s video store, come check it out. I'm talking like wood paneling. I'm talking like the old Grace. I'm talking like you walk in there and you feel like you walked into RSV video from Clerks. Shit like that. Like you want that and just have the sea of movies everywhere. Go have fun.
There's a really cool documentary out there called Kim's Video, and it's about this store. There were like 3 locations in New York City, and it was a music and video store, and it was dedicated to making very direct statements about what they felt was good, what they felt was bad, and were really into the idea of pushing the rare and the obscure. I honestly think, even though they shut down, one of the great templates for a video store is actually Kim's. So, I have to push that documentary because I think businesses like that, especially, when you add the nostalgia that's so popular with vinyl, I think that is a combination that actually could catch on. So
I think I just scared myself with a pen.
that sucks. It started hitting, didn't it?
I listened to everything you just said.
So
like I was fucking around with a pen, and then it like fell, and I was just like, "Oh shit!"
Scared himself with a pen.
Holy shit!
I was intently listening.
But we are going to get this going, guys. We're going to wrap this one up. Just a reminder of what's coming up next week. Bam!
Dr.
Lamb. There you go, Dr. Lamb.
Dr. Lamb chop.
And that's on Tuesday, by the way. Tuesday, 8 o'clock Eastern time. And next Thursday, boom! Can't wait. Can't wait. Hope it's fun. People, check out Ambassador Radio. Check
Thank
out
you.
the King Snobs. Check out Popcorn and Pints. Of course, check out Horror Research 30. Every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Tuesday and Thursday during Sturd-o-Ween. And then we're going to be diving into some other stuff. But that said, I'll see you in Nightmares.